So, um, we have got our Agricola friend, Zach, um, and we've got two players that I'm not as familiar with. Mix of skill levels at the table, but hopefully it shouldn't be too mismatched. Hopefully people do reasonable things. Looks like a coin type game. You always kind of think maybe alchemists might be good in that. Engineers are generally pretty good in coin type games, so we're going to toss them in. The big building late scoring isn't great for them, but round 4 towns is because you want to dig early. These TPs in round 3 are good, and maybe you have so much stuff built at this point that you actually do just want to build your big buildings. Who knows? Wolf player does throw out alchemists. It makes sense. All 4 of the scoring pass tiles are in the game. The only tile that's missing that you might want is the priest tile. But it seems nice for them anyway. Alchemists will make the game tricky in terms of winning network against them if you're engineers. Alchemists often like to start on this E5 hex, their first action. I think that if you're Alchemist, you're hoping to get onto the temp ship tile, and then you open with grabbing the priest, templing for Earth 1, advancing ship, and building 2 dwellings. That's kind of like the standard Alchemist play. Swarmlings get put into the 3rd seat. They're also good in a coin type game. They're going to be able to get either the spade or the big building tile, which is always really strong. If worker power falls to the 1st seat as engineers, I'm tempted to think that opening temple, like 2 temples, 1 dwelling is perfectly fine. You don't actually need the double spade that bad. It's a temple scoring round, so getting Earth 1, Earth 2, and a dwelling down would probably be my ideal round if I get worker power for engineers here. Cultists clearly seem to make engineers the pick here. They don't have a color neighbor, whereas these guys are sandwiched around each other. I think that Alchemist is now the wrong pick. Even though it's a good track for them, I don't think that this is great for them. Zach should probably just bid engineers like I'm doing. I'm not trying to trick anyone here. I know that some stronger players do try to trick others, but honestly, I'm not good enough to even know enough about the auction to be thinking about tricking anyone. So, cultists are always good. They're just cultists. The round 6 big buildings is good. I mean, swarmlings are in the game, so the fact that you won't be winning network is alleviated. Depending on, like, this isn't the strongest table for everyone, so swarmlings should be able to win the race to the 2 key town, but they're not guaranteed to by any means. I would expect G6 swarmlings in this game. I actually am a little bummed about swarmlings being in this game because I don't really like this race. I don't know where alchemists are going to start, so I will put 1 more on engineers. And D Castles is on cultists. Cultists are going to start with a spade, which is super, super strong. Swarmlings are going to be able to start with the big building tile, which is also really strong. So cultists, you start here and here. You try to connect through the south. You hopefully beat engineers at G2 or D4. It's kind of hard for engineers to get both against cultists if they're determined, but swarmlings digging G5 with their first action is a problem, as is alchemists just starting on G5. but I kind of suspect alchemists won't start on g5 if it's like a cluster there. As swarmlings, I probably start h4. Though you risk engineers just taking this. It is a landscapes game, so maybe you just start d2 and try to get as much territory as you can over here on the west for a mega town. Engineers have gigantic upside. That's the thing. They can open 2 temples and a dwelling, Earth 1, Earth 2. Probably win network, given that alchemists are sandwiched. I quite like chances with engineers here. And I am willing to switch to swarmlings here as well. I know we play them a lot on this stream, but I do feel like the price is right now, so we'll just see how this goes. I think my ideal round for swarmlings here is I get single spade in round 1, and then I make a temple for water 1 probably. I think I would single spade g5, and then open with the stronghold and temple. Securing g5 gets me tempo on the 2 key town, I think, because cultists shouldn't be able to build enough dwellings to threaten the 2 key town after that point. You would still need 2 spades in the next round. That's the small downside, but maybe you can get some leech to help that dream happen. I think we do maybe start d2 this time. I love starting h4 to be disruptive, but they're like temp ship being in the game. Engineers do want this g3 hex. Cultists do want to come down through here. So if you do manage to get these hexes, you can be really successfully disruptive, and it's cool. But I don't know if I'm going to win at that, all those races. So I am going to start here, and cultists can start f7 to protect themselves. If they do that, then they can have a better chance at winning the 2 key town race, but they don't. So that's a bit of a problem for them. Hopefully we're left the single spade. If I get the big building tile, I'm kind of willing to hard dig as well, but that would cost me the ability to make my temple, so. I don't think Zizak is going to spade with his first action. Alchemists start here, which I think is wrong. It's not good for me, for sure. It makes my life a little more difficult here because I don't get easy access to the north here. Cultists are going to take the spade here. The other thing I could take is I could take the worker power, but I think that the 2 workers is better. It's an extra worker, it's extra points. I'm obviously hoping a lot to get some, like for, basically as long as engineers begin with an upgrade as opposed to beginning with a single spade, I should be okay. Engineers should be able to get the double spade here, so I think that there's a good chance that I do get single spade. Because it's not good for me if cultists get this hex. Though I guess I'd probably get double dig in that case, and I'd probably still beat them to the 2 key town, but it's a lot dicier if I let cultists get a town through here. That puts them in a 3 town game plan, which is obviously tougher to contend with. Yeah, so whether or not engineers grab that single spade to begin the game is going to be a pretty big swing for us this time. Those are like the uncertainties in Terra Mystica that you always have to be looking out for. Wow, this alchemist player is really not good. I mean, I think engineers should still prefer the worker power, but now they have the option to temp shift instead. Um, I do think worker power is still clearly better here. The extra worker is just so good for engineers. But yeah, alchemists playing like this is it's very good for cultists. It's very good for alchemists. It's not good for me. I don't think this is how. I mean, alchemists should be landing here anyway. I guess that this being open is also good for me. It makes this megatown easy, so I just need to secure 3 hexes here and megatown over here. But this is awkward. Zach makes the right read. I appreciate that. He can't give Alchemist Leech, so again, as long as he doesn't open single spade, which I think he never should, then we're good here. He should be upgrading, probably, I would probably upgrade F6 if I were engineers here, but we'll see what they choose. That is indeed what they do. Cool. Looks like we're in business. We'll be upgrading on G6. We don't really want to give the leech to cultists, I think. I know that we can get a little bit of leech ourselves, but let's figure out whether or not we need that leech to make this thing here. We will take that leech, of course. So I think Zach should take the double spade here, in my opinion. He's not at risk of losing Earth 1, but he is at risk of losing the double spade. So clearly the pressure is higher on double spade. And now that he can't single spade, I think that double spade makes all the more sense. That said, I mean, cultists don't particularly want double spade that bad, but they could just grab d4, which is annoying, to say the least. Obviously, if we can, we're going to deny cultist leech later, but the engineers should be taking their leech right now. And yep, Zach does take the double spade. Good man. I approve. Starting with the dwellings tile is so bizarre that like I wasn't even sure if this was going to be Earth 1, but it was. I don't think we want to give cultists leech. Cultists are our biggest competition. And they've already upgraded once, right? Yeah, this should definitely be over here. Can cultists town in round 2? They probably can't town in round 2. I think that my priority should really just be making the big building in round 2. So I'm spending 5 workers. I'm spending 6 more workers here. Or sorry, 8 more workers here. And I'll be getting 3 next round. So I just need 1 more worker, and I need some coins. So it would be nice if we could pass on to engineers tile. I think that would be the ideal tile to pass on to. I would also settle for the TP tile next round. If I'm cultist, I'm probably buying the priest here. If I'm Zizak, I'm probably templing right now for Earth 1. Um, Actually, you don't need to temple for Earth 1. You can temple for Earth 2 first, but I think that the best sequence that can happen here for engineers is templing for Earth 1, grabbing the coins, then templing for Earth 2. Leave this hex unbuilt. This is also kind of a nice move because it prevents... Yeah, okay. So Zach takes Earth 2. He's not going to be a chump. I think that he still might take Earth 1 this round, but this seems fine. Like, Temple TP 2 dwellings is also pretty good. Like, he can still open 2 TPs in a dwelling. I think that that's actually better, especially given this track. But we'll see what he chooses. Yeah, especially if he opens with, if he gets on a 10 ship next round, that's actually really sick. Because there are 2 hexes just waiting to be built. You cycle your power so hard, and then you don't need to worry about coins, because engineers build such cheap dwellings. You just use power for coins, and then you save stuff to build TPs in this round. I assume that the next hex cultists are building is G4 with their single spade. They can have enough stuff to get the priest and the coins. This also doesn't seem good, but I think alchemists are desperately hoping to get a little leech so that they can buy 2 workers, but yeah, they don't seem to be the strongest player. We're not going to dwell too much on them. Because yeah, players are allowed to make decisions that we don't agree with, so. Cultists do indeed take the priest. It's going to go to the fire track. So they are going to get priests onto most of the tracks that we have the most interest in, which is a little sad for us, but so it goes. So Zach, I would just take the coins now. I think it's time to take the coins. You're not getting any more leech, so you're burning fewer power than you would have before. You would still line up with 7 in your bowls, and then you make this temple build, and then yeah. I think that's the right move. TP dwelling is also fine. But yeah, I think that temple is better here. We'll see if Zizak agrees. Okay, he's gonna go for the dwelling. That's fine. I think this might come partially from just fear of burning down too much power as engineers early. I totally am sympathetic to that fear, so I get it. They take the TP tile, which is really unfortunate for me because that's the one that I wanted. I really wanted this TP tile so I could get that worker. But it's fine because I have 2 actions left anyway. Maybe I get engineer's worker power, and that's obviously good as well. I will need to burn down 1 here. I'm going to be desperately hoping for a coins action next round. Hopefully engineers don't take it, but they could. And in that case, I'm probably out of luck. Cultists have so much leech that maybe it was just better for me to give them this leech anyway, but I like upgrading G5, then at least I have a little more and don't have to burn down power. I could credibly take the coins this round if that were the case, but I think Wolf Player might have just like left his seat or something. I don't know what this is here, but Obviously, you should be taking this leech. Okay, there we go. If we can't get enough stuff for the 2-key town next round, it maybe we try to, or if we can't get enough stuff to sanctuary next round, maybe we look at trying to make the 2-key town. But I do think that engineers should probably be able to get double spade next round if they want it. And because they didn't take the coins, it looks like they could want it. Um, there is a small question of whether we want Earth One or not. Like Earth One can hurt engineers quite well. Um, but how much do we care about hurting engineers? Let's see. How many more dwellings are we building this game? We're building 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's probably a 10-point Earth 1 at this point. So 2 here so that we can make a sanctuary town. Then 1, 2 here. This is probably a landscape. 3. So that's like a 10-point Earth 1. It does give us upside for this round. But next round we're guaranteed to use water 1. So I am going to take this. I'm just going to let engineers have Earth 1. It might be wrong not to block them, given that I'm already not on G3. I could live to regret this if engineers do beat us. Cultists are going to open double temple, which is cool. I think we're in a pretty good spot here. Engineers either take the coins now and then I get coins next round, or they pass and I get this, and then I should be able to do power to coins next round. I would take temp ship here if I were engineers. I mean, alchemists should really have taken temp ships instead of making this TP. Then they could advance ship and get out dwellings anyway, but I'm pretty sad that they didn't do that. Cultists probably will make fire 1 here. And go up the earth track, so I'm probably going to just need to win water and air against them. There's the pass. Engineers do take temp ship like I thought they should. Yeah, I mean, engineers are possibly just getting handed too much this game. I am not winning the cults against these cultists, so it is very possible that I've handed too much away. This alchemist player hopefully is still around. They were slow to take my leash last time, so I do hope that they play a little faster. At these tables with these disparate skill levels, it is always good to just play like swarmlings are a relatively lower ceiling faction. They're a very strong faction, but a lot of their strength comes from being robust and like the fact that you're always going to get something good to happen if you're swarmlings. But engineers here are just looking so explosive. they should even be declining this leech because they just have so much going on for them. They can take coins and the double spade next round, which is insane. Yeah, we don't have the coins to make the 2-key town next round. 2 spades, like, our power needs to be for coins, so we are going to just go for the sanctuary next round. I think it might be like priest, sanctuary, TP, and then we pass. Possibly we don't even send the priest, actually. Like, I could see a world where we simply sanctuary TP and then pass for the spade. Because we're pretty workers short after we make this sanctuary TP. Yeah, this player burned down a lot of their time deciding on taking this leech. What is going on here? 200 is enough to like not have to do this. Whatever. Showing some impatience here. It says Zach doesn't need this power. He should decline. Alchemists probably take it because they still want all the power they can get. Alchemists are probably going to buy 2 workers with their first action. That's why they pass onto this, so that they can bring out the stronghold, I suppose. Zach should be declining this. Oh, okay, he's got some connection issues. That's what's happening. Let's see where the spade goes. I guess it's going to go on G4. I don't know why this is taking so long. I guess they're just deciding where is safer to put the spade. F3 versus G4. I think the answer is it's actually F3. I don't think alchemists are going to open with double spade. I think that they're going to buy 2 workers and try to make this stronghold. But they put the landscape down, which seems like a fine way to secure territory. So we should just keep in mind that cultists do have a route to making a 2-key town before us. They could double spade G2, though admittedly they don't have a lot of leech right now. They could sanctuary for fire 2 as well. Like if they pass onto this, they can sanctuary for fire 2. They took earth 2 instead of fire 1, which I think is a good call. That said, it's a very coin-tight game, so they might find themselves in some coin troubles. We will see if this is going to be a sanctuary for fire 2. That would be pretty interesting. Okay, here we go. Is this 2 workers or is it double dig? There's nowhere to double dig. It should just be 2 workers. It might also be priest to water. I don't think that that's awful. Priest to water is actually an issue for me. If I'm Zach, I'm probably double digging like F4, G3. Curious about this player's normal playing speed, because this is some pretty rough. This is some pretty rough pace for round 1. We are 30 minutes deep into this stream, so I really don't think that they should be taking this long to make decisions, but maybe they're just a newer player. No, they played almost 300 games of Terra Mystica. I feel like this is not that hard of a call here, but who am I to say? They don't play necessarily standard settings all the time because they did play a 3-player game, I guess. They did take 2 workers. Okay, the Zach does take that. That's fine. I was prepared for this. My contingency was that I get my coins by turning my priest into coins like so. Um, so now I do have enough stuff to make this sanctuary. I guess I probably should have left myself open to taking the 2-for-1 from alchemists. Their next move is probably just making the stronghold, so um, maybe I should have been more cognizant of that to take the 2-for-1, but that's okay. Here's Earth 1, which is very nice. Earth 1 also gives Zach enough to double dig, but he now doesn't have to double dig, right? He can just build free hexes, which I think is better. Yeah, I am sad about missing out on that 2-for-1. I think that was a sloppy play. What have cultists been up to? Cultists. They sent priest to earth. Okay, yeah. So they're locking up these 2 cults on me. They could even send priest to air here, I guess. I guess opening double temple does make it very hard on me. So I mean, I like cultist position a lot as well. Sadly. We are not going to have the stuff to double spade next round. So I think that maybe I think that we can't stop cultists from getting the 2-key town. However, we should be able to build a dwelling next round, and then we maybe 2-town in this round. So that's a pretty okay outcome for us, I think. Cultists put priest to water. They really want this water spade, but they could just put 2 priests there next round. I think priest to air was better here, just for the points. Alchemists advance ship once, which does them nothing. They have 1 worker income. That's not good. They should be passing though. They might pass for the. I'm hoping that they pass for the points, so I can get a spade. I would love to be able to build D1 without any issues next round. Cultist Leech has enabled them to get away with Earth 2 in this game where they pass for no coins, so they are going to be able to take a coins action next round, which is very, very nice for them. I mean, taking Water 1 feels a little greedy, but they have been able to bootstrap their economy pretty effectively so far. Like this cult playing Earth 2 and all the priests to fire and passing on to this has enabled them to build super, super tall, which is good for them. Okay, alchemists do double spade, so that's actually cool. They can get 2 dwellings out this round, so that's good for them. This is also good for me because it means I think that this means that I'm going to get this spade. This is also good for me because it takes away one brown hex from cultists. Cultist weakness right now is that they don't have any dwellings that they can upgrade to TPs next round. We're only building one TP next round, but that's okay. Alchemist weakness is that they have no workers, but they should be building a few now, so that's going to help them out a little bit. Zach has lots of stuff to do. I don't think that he should pass. He could pass, that would really hurt me. But I really don't think that you should be trying to hurt another player this early specifically. I think that he should be building C5 and sending a priest to air. Like C5 gets you another worker. It takes advantage of your temp ship. He takes a priest, so he's going to play a little culty as well. I think we're opening this next round with priest to air. Yeah, we're going to open with priest to air. Cultists leave themselves a little room for leech. They're going to take... I think that they probably should actually take the ship VP tile so that they can start advancing ship. But you never know. They could... They take worker power because they need resources. They're going to double dig. They're going to probably double dig G2. Expect Zach to come here. Yeah, so our round, so TM is for the big boys. So Zach is only at 233 rating. Yeah, I mean, like, being good at one game doesn't mean that you're good at another game, right? I think that a lot of players who play Terra Mystica also play Agricola, but I mean, I'm only rated like a 300 at Agricola. That's because but Zach also just hasn't played that much. I think that he's definitely trying to learn. Like we're in a turn-based game together currently, so so C5 is happening. What else is happening? Priest to air probably happening. If priest to air happens, obviously then I won't be putting priest to air. I might just focus on winning the water cult then, because I can assure myself 2 cult spades actually, right? I get 2 cult spades if I send priest to water twice. That seems pretty good. There's the dwelling. Zach could send 2 priests to the water cult, actually. That might be interesting. You just lock out these spaces. But that's really good for cultists. It gets you 1 spade, which probably isn't worth it given how much territory you've already claimed. He puts priest to fire, which gets him... Okay. I don't hate these. This also means that I do have priest to air now, which... I have to think about if the points on air are better than trying to get a second spade off the water track. Those are probably thoughts for a later time. No, these are thoughts for right now. I have to ensure that I'm able to get a double spade for these in round 4. Is kind of where I'm at if I don't put this priest off right now. Let's live dangerously. I think I might only get 1 town next round. I haven't been able to pass onto the worker tiles that I actually really want. I only got this once. But since then I've only gotten 1 spade action. it is coming together a little bit for me now, so that's good. But I think we are taking this leech. Kind of sucks, but I think we kind of really need resources right now. So cultists put themselves into position to take towns now. Some of these priests might become workers. That's not the end of the world. Might also not be the end of the world for me to buy buy a priest and send it to water. So that way I have, some positioning on the water track, as well as the ability to make my town next round a little better. Alchemists just have to focus on actually building structures, but they could also make this TP. Alchemists could take a TP town. That would actually be bad news for me because I want cultists to have to take like a low value town. I don't want them to win these cults without taking the 2-key town. So Zach, if I'm to Zach, I might just be sanctuarying for water 1 right now. Like you want water 1, right? I would not build F4 and make cultists happy. I'd probably buy the coins. Yep, coin seems good. Okay. Let's see if we can rush out this round. If I see another priest go onto the water track from someone who's not cultist, okay, cultists put the priest to water, so they are going to put a priority on winning this track. I probably will just let them have it. Well, what tile do I want next round? That's also kind of an important question, I think. I want this or this, right? Those are the only two that I'm really interested in. Why not single spade and spade tile on H7 to get the temple in the 2-key town? That's good. That's a good point. That's a good point. I could have thought of that, but I didn't. One of the reasons that I didn't do that is because I did want to get a TP up here, but I think that you made a very good point there, which is that I do have this ability to make a single spade. So that was just an oversight, I think. We're not perfect here. So Zach is going to go for a temple, I think, instead of sanctuary, which I think is fine. So Zach should definitely not take the 2-key town. I think an 8-pointer is good because it gets you a spade, but I don't want him to take the 2-key town. I don't think it's good for him. It's also bad for me. Like, I theoretically still want the 2-key town, but like I probably just settle for 8-pointers and 11-pointers at this point. Maybe even the 7-pointer is not too bad, but I think that the leech that you get from a 2-key town is very valuable. So I think that the best thing that can happen for us now is to pass onto this. Um, Alchemists are obviously staying in this round. The question is, are cultists going to down convert so that they can make this TP? I think that's not awful for them to do that. But they could also just pass onto this, open the coins action. But that doesn't help them with like making a town next round. They do wind up making this TP. Can this help us? I don't think I can. Like, we can see how high cultist score already is, and they're crushing endgame scoring, so I don't see any reason to help them there. We are going to pass for the double spade next. I think that we can double spade h7 and then do a worker to power, or a worker to coin conversion, or whatever it is. Priest to worker for this. And then I just win air. I try to get second on... I get 16 cult points probably. I try to beat alchemists on these two cults. And I try to make a ton of points on the pass. How many spades do we need over here? Let's do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess it's better to come up here. I guess we do need to come up here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Getting this free blue is good. Zach really burning some clock here, trying to figure out if he wants water 1. I think that you can easily afford water 1. If you can take water 1 and still build TPs, then you should. So that's my thought here. He is on the dwelling style, which is a little awkward. He might want to advance his ship or something here. Puts a priest to earth to make sure that I don't get any points there. That seems fine. I think he's hoping for some leech, but we'll see. I think engineers are in a super strong position right now. Alright, so we're being offered... What are we being offered here? We're being offered priest here and priest here, which will help us with our dreams there. The single spade also went away, so I think sending a priest here and then bumping another priest is pretty good. On the other hand, I think taking this TP tile is also good, so let's go with that. Yeah, because if I don't pass here, then cultists surely just pass. This will let me take double spade to open next round, which is what I want. Anyway, yeah, answering the question, single spade plus the bonus spade was probably good there. I do think that this gives me a better shot at making 2 towns next round, though, which is also good. Even if I don't get the 2-key town. Just not be worth it anyway, right? with alchemists setting a priest to Earth, like the utility of the 2-key town seems a lot lower. The benefit of it is mainly economy at this point, but because the 2-key town might be needed for me to get this. I suppose that I annoy cultists if I take the 2-key town. So Zach might also just decide that he wants the 2-key town. I don't think that that's the right move, though. Like, maybe you beat cultists on one cult with the 2-key town. I don't think that that's worth it. Cultist economy, by the way, look at their coins. This doesn't look great for them in terms of making any towns next round. So that's good. Now all the priest spots are taken up, so we're not beating them on any cults anyway. But how many extra points do we think that we might get from taking a 2-key town versus an 8-pointer? We might get an extra point here. Well, I don't think we're getting any points on water. I don't think we're winning water with cultists having 2 priests on it already. I'm not going to be setting 3 priests. I don't think I'm getting all the cult towns. I would need all the cult towns to win water at this point. I might beat engineers here, so that might be like 2 points, plus maybe 2 points. It's like maybe 2 points better. So I think that it's better for me to just take an 8-pointer here. 8-pointer is still good because it keeps it out of other players' hands. Worker towns are also good because I do need workers eventually, but I'm going to have an influx of workers from this round, so I'm not going to focus too hard on that. Priest towns are always good, so 8-pointers and priest towns is what I'm looking for this round. Can we afford to give cultist leech? They have 4 workers next round. So they only need 4 workers to make this town, admittedly. Oh, cultists are full on power, so we're gonna build H6. Do I lose points if someone else gets the 2-key town? No. The answer is no, right? Like, I already have no points on these 2 cults. No, I'm gonna make sure that I lock up air. There's no way I'm gonna let anyone win air on me. And here, like, I don't care if I lose points here, right? Like, maybe I lose. Yeah, like, I don't think I'm losing points on water. Maybe I lose like 2 points on water. Since cultists are full on power, I'm gonna build H6. I did want to hurt engineers, and I think that this does hurt engineers a fair bit. Or I mean, like, it takes away 1 hex from them, which is why not take away a hex from engineers if we can. We could make this our landscape to avoid priest to worker. We do eventually want the landscape, and also dwellings are next round. I think that we can economically afford this because we're getting so many. Yeah, I think we can afford this economically speaking. Yeah. That's trying. Like, those 2 steps could go against me, but I don't actually see where those 2 steps go against me. So I think we're okay here to just take an 8-pointer. Cultists need to take the 2-key town to lock it out, because otherwise I can still beat them on fire, right? Like, or on earth, or whatever. I guess cultists actually would be happier with an 8-pointer here now as well. So it takes the 2-key town, which I think is very bad. I don't think that this advances Zach's position by enough versus just taking an 8-pointer. But I guess if he sends the priest here, then he will win the earth cult from this, then it's worth it. So you know what? I'll eat my. Any case, we're pretty happy taking this. Maybe I should have put the booster first. I just don't like doing that. The other goes, dads should take it. Zach also does single space. I'll throw it back to go to Earth here. In which case I am just building this dwelling. I mean, yeah. I have been crapping on Alchemist game, but they are doing, like, they have a lot of points. And they have more network than I do. So. Anyway, yeah, basically, like, I was, like, engineers getting this 2 key town doesn't really hurt me, right? Like, cultists at this point, like, I think cultists are really happy right now, right? I guess I could have put priest of fire. That was a mistake, because this was 2 points, that priest, and I do need those points. So not putting priest of fire or priest of earth was a mistake there. I should have done that instead of building this dwelling. So I did make some mistakes. Hopefully those won't haunt me too badly. Like, I'm not going to lose to alchemists, I think, but this was a blow. I think we just take a 9-pointer now. Engineers are on the tile that I want, so priest towns do help us in that sense. So I say that because I think that these will help me stall a little bit. I think that this round we probably just put 2 priests to air and then pass. One priest to air is all we need to lock in the double spade next round. Yeah. Putting a priest to air so we can lock in double spade next round feels important. I mean, I guess we don't need double spade, right? We could also just advance our digs and then try to build these 2 hexes. There's no way I was taking that leech. Cultists lock this out with fire too. Seems okay. Like, the thing is, like, what's so bizarre is that cultists might wind up being alchemists on network even here. Probably crazy, but I don't hate Sanctuary Air 1 for engineers here. Basically, I think that engineers, they generally don't want to build too tall. Like, I think it's good to build out a lot of structures and not to rush your scoring favors too hard, but I really think that engineers could have afforded to play it a little differently here. Like, I think they could have taken Water 1 sooner. Okay, they finally do make their Sanctuary, so that's good. Good for Engis there. They take the other 9-pointer, so Now there's no really, like, only the 11-point town is left, and I think that cultists should beat me to that. So it is indeed Air 1. So I think that Zach has not made major mistakes this game. This is not, like, if you look at Alchemist game or look at Cultist game, like, Cultists are doing very well, but they haven't made, like, all the best decisions. I think Zach has made, like, basically great decisions throughout. And I don't think that it's consistent with being a 200 level rated player, I will say. Um, I am counting the power in here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. Next round I'm gonna build 8, 9, and make a TP for 10. Um, so I don't think we're getting to 14. Like, odds are strongly against me getting to 14 there. Oh, Alchemist pass. We're gonna pass onto the Dwelling VP. They will have access to double spade next round, which makes me a little nervous. Oh, I just don't understand this. They're gonna go for double spade next round, which is just awful. Um, like I don't see what this gets them. Oh, just able to force out this round, so that Zach is almost done, so I'm just gonna stall out this round. Putting a priest onto air actually overflows me, so I think that the right thing to do is to surreptitiously bump myself up the earth track and maybe steal a spade out of it. Actually, surreptitiously, like, sneakily bumping up the water track is even better because I'm panic into cultists. So I think this is better. And credit cultists, they did manage to get 2 towns this round. I thought that they would have trouble building even one. So they're going to have a lot of points after this, which takes away a lot of my advantages here. So Zach is passing for 6 points, so I think that he's okay in terms of points. So Zach should also realize that buying a priest and stalling is not good here. Yeah, passing is much better. So I'm never getting double spade here. Engineers should always take it before me. But we do finally get onto the big building tile a second time. Okay, so how around? We have 7 coins plus 10 coins, so we can advance digs twice, then build this, then build this. I think that's like the right length of a round to have. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2 for the dig advances, 3, 4 for these two, and then 5 for the TP. So we can't worry about passing early to get back onto this just yet. We don't have to build E11, admittedly, so that might be like a small upside to us. Cultists do manage to, I mean, all credit to cultists, they did manage to do this, so. If we do get the double spade, like miraculously, if engineers don't take the double spade, then we will just double spade build this and have a very fast round, but having a fast round seems good right now because, yeah, just look at the state of things. I mean, alchemists probably put the spade here. Yeah. They're going to try for a 3-town game. I don't think that they have the workers to quite support that, but power to them if they manage it. MLP Nix, walking into the stream thinking how I'm at 103 on turn 4, but I start on 40. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I'm only really at 83 points, and there were 2 towns in this, so that helped. As you can see, I'm getting locked out of endgame scoring, so it's a little rough there. Cultists double spade this hex? Am I? That seems crazy to me. This is pretty neat from Zach. This spade pattern. Anyway, double spade is actually not good for alchemists. It is good for engineers, I suppose. They take a single spade, which is awful. That's awful because they could have taken this and advanced their digs, but whatever, they did what they did. They're also on temp ship for some reason, which also makes no sense to me. Like 200 is enough to have some idea what you're doing, so I just don't really understand like how they're making these crazy moves here. It's possible that they've just never really played alchemists. I guess that's like what could be the case here. And they just like wanted to try them, but like they played 300-ish games, so. I was curious about their playing speed. They had a 20-minute game here. Yeah, they've been playing under 20 minutes, so I feel like, am I crazy? Does it seem like they've been taking a long time this game? Maybe like they haven't been playing taking that long time. My team points upping digs and trying for a town in the southwest. I think at this point, if Zizak takes the double spade, then I probably am taking coins. Yeah. Now I don't actually need coins. I need workers more than I need coins, but yeah, I think that that's what is going to happen. That said, like I would ideally like to have as short a run as I can, so I can get onto one of these pass tiles. I don't really want the engineer's pass tile, and cultists. Cultists are probably having a very short round, building d6 and maybe h3, and then they're going to pass on to this. Alchemists are having a short round, so they might be passing on to this. So I might just be locked into a long game anyway, and then I'm probably just going to have to try to outstall Zizak for this. They do take double spade, so all the spade actions are gone, so I have to advance digs. I might as well just grab the coins. Though I think that I can just grab the coins at my leisure, right? Like, no one has the leech right now for it, and I don't think anyone's taking a big enough leech for it. If alchemists take the coins, good for them. So I'm gonna not take the coins yet. Hot take, but wow, cultists are gonna look for another town, which I think is no, they're just gonna mess with alchemists, which I guess they're allowed to do. This will help them to have a better network score, I suppose. It doesn't look good, but they are allowed to do that. So they're going to build 2 more dwellings as well. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have 12 network plus all these cult points. I think that they're... Wouldn't be shocked if cultists are actually beating me. Like, we definitely messed up with our cult positioning, I think. And engineers probably got fed a little too much. They're a little short on points, but they have so many endgame points. Plus they have 12 more points, plus they're passing for 10. Yeah, they're going to be at like, they're going to be like in the 90s after this round, so. Still don't think anyone's taking coins yet, so. I don't think Zach even wants coins, so I'm not gonna. I'm gonna feed him leech so that he can take coins, but I don't think he's actually wants them. Um, Actually, can I make a TP and fast pass? Is that the best move I can do right now? Let's make this TP, and then we'll see if we just want to pass. I would be passing up 4 points and 2 workers, but I'm swarmling, so like, do I care about 4 points and 2 workers? I think that's a reasonable question to ask. Cultists have stayed in this round long enough for us to sneak out in front of them, I think. Cultists protect the water cult. Fair enough. We'll have 8 workers, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I need enough to make this temple for fire too. I don't want any funny business happening here. Do I care about the funny business as long as I get onto this? You know what? Screw it. Let's just take a long round. We'll lock out our cults. We won't worry too much about this pass tile. Yeah, it's 4 points just to stay in this round. Plus, I assure that no one messes with me on here. So Zach would have to temple for air 2 and air 3 in order to beat me this round. So I think that I can afford to stay in this round a little longer. So let's take my coins. Is it coins? Should it be workers instead? Yeah, it's coins. Hold on. Just doing some math here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 workers. I have 8 power here right now. And I need 12 power. So I actually need to build 3 more dwellings. So I think it needs to be this, and this. In which case, I take the coins, because I'm actually coin short. And I use my priests as workers here. Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. We can't build this anyway this round. So, that was an oopsie. Maybe we should have taken some leech, huh? So I do need to build a dwelling next round. This round I'm just going to build F7, E11. Right? Wait, hold on. I think that we should just no. Okay, I'm gonna let this one stay.
Can I do 2 dwellings and a landscape? Yeah, I already had the landscape. 11.10 next round, I think. Why is 2? Cultists still are staying in this round. I think that we have to pass. We're offer opportunity to pass on to one of these guys. We have to take it now. I think Zizak should be passing on to one of them too. Passing, they took the 2 workers on the way, so I think they might be making it good. It's quite bad. Oh, that the water. God, this is a sick place. So Zach actually declined my leech here. I was thinking that he might take it and then build A10. I was kind of hoping to that. But it looks like he's not going to do that. Alchemists do pass. So I guess I have to take the dwelling tile, but it's better than letting cultists have it. Cultists are going to have no... this will get on my big building. Just as for them. Is there anything for that question? This dwelling tile is only like a point or 2, but I don't know. I feel like I made some mistakes here. Do I want? It's literally like points. It's a little better for color. This tile, and passing also lets me steal coin cultists to have the resources to be stealing coin cultists. This here is worth 2 points to me, right? But what's the benefit of this round? I can put 2 and 2 points on the worker. Position. It gets me another worker as well. 1 worker with 2 points. I think a worker could be worth 2 to me. Yeah, it's unpopular would be worth 2 points. It's just, do I want those? Yeah, those are getting anyway. Like, I have 4 cultists. Let's just play our 4 points. But we will put 1 priest in this air cult just so that like we don't have to be annoyed by engineers anymore. But alchemists buying the workers and then passing was unexpected to me. Like it was the right move to pass, but maybe they're going to buy workers at the beginning of this coming round as well. So are we good? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I need 2 actions. And I need a priest to worker conversion, it looks like. Okay, I mean, this priest isn't that bad anyway then. Or the spade isn't that bad because I will be doing priest to workers anyway, so and priests are good for ship advances, which is a way that I score. Alchemists probably buy workers, I assume. I have a temple for fire too. Do you need fire too? They're not close to making their town, so I don't expect them to take fire too first. One worker's a spade for me? Yeah, I agree, but if you look at it, I need a temple and a dwelling. I need 5 workers just to build my structures. So yeah, I mean, like, why is a spade better than 3 power of 1 worker? Oh, you're saying that it couldn't, like, this guy was better than this. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I didn't think of that. Admittedly, like, late in the game, you don't really look at worker power being very good. Yeah, you're right. That was better than the spade. That was not very precise playing. I apologize for looking poor. I guess like the real mistake is letting cultists have the coins action. Yeah, like I really wanted The reason why I should have passed, honestly, was that I should have tried to block the coins action from this there. Yeah, because now cultists can make this sanctuary, I think. Okay, seems dumb, but whatever. It's their prerogative. Shouldn't hate too much. It does look like cultists have won this game. There's so many points here. And they have their ability to do this. Like, cultists getting the coins is probably too good for them. We're just going to wrap out our town. That's the move here. Advantage so that, yeah, it's going to double spade I6. Fire two. I didn't want to risk any blocks. I wound up point anyway, but I think I did that. Single, or he's just not going to win that A2. So at least his attack is going to. His attack doesn't beat. Yeah, it's a stronghold. Such a tough game. Connect on I7. Really disappointing alchemist for cultists. It's very depressing for me. At least we're getting the 11 pointer, so we'll be at 148 after that. So that's pretty good. Cultists need to hard dig down either E8 or I7 here. So that's going to use up the resses. Then they'll pass for 6. So cultists are going to get 2 points from Earth 1 here, so that's 115. They won't have any stuff left. Let's say they get a resource point. That's 170. So that's 141. They're 12 and now 153. Okay, I am ahead of cultists, despite that they have all the end game points. I think I'm ahead of cultists. I think that we're doing 3 power to a worker here, and here's my rationale for that. I have coins left over, and that's exactly enough to advance my ship 3 times with my priests. I'm going to think about the math too hard there, but I think that that makes sense. Scrolling down. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, I forgot that I would actually have to pay victory points for the dwelling. We're going to have to undo this. We are going to have to undo this. Because the priest just isn't that good for me. The priest can't be better than, like, it's straight up victory point. Maybe we can buy a priest afterward if we really want to, but still taking 11 points. Okay, we're basically done. We got three stuff back. Okay, so actually it was what I did there. I need to buy again. The next priority item is buying the priest. I completely that. I should have just like not undone it. I'm obviously a mess playing this game. So yeah, cultists are at 121 plus. I'm just counting the math one more time. I think that we know it's true. They're at 121 plus 12 network, 133. Maybe a resource point, 134 plus 22. 156. I think that we're ahead of 156. Zach might also have the same points. Zach has more points than Cultist, though. Because the network went outright. We need to make sure that he doesn't beat us on this cult, I think. So we'll take this priest. We'll advance our ship twice, and then we'll see if Zach is thinking about going for Air 3. I think that they're probably not going for Air 3, but we'll see. Alchemist's best move here is just to pass, I think. They could like build this or something, but it doesn't really help. Alchemists are supposed to 5-power priest here, actually. I should have left them that priest so that they would 5-power priest on cultists. Actually, if I just advance my ship 3 times, do I even care about engineers? I probably do. Engineers aren't second here, so I do need to think about them at least. Oh, nice. Alchemists did 5-power priest to air, so that takes 2 away from cultists. That's nice. Though that actually was bad because alchemists have such an efficient power to coin ratio, power to victory point ratio, that this actually lost them a victory point overall. It took 2 points away from cultists and gave them 2 points, but it cost them 3. Because that priest was actually 3 that 5 powers actually were 3 victory points to alchemists. So I think it's just further missteps from like a slightly misguided player. Zach just steadily refuses to take water 1. I think that's a mistake. Like, you don't need to build all these dwellings. Oh, he needs to build TPs. But yeah, I think that the way to do that was just to make temples in TPs, not to just make TPs without the benefit of water 1. I think that's a mistake, but that's okay. You're allowed to make mistakes. I don't think Zach has Air 3 on his mind. But if he does, you know what? I think that I'll just let him have it. At this point, like if he takes Air 3, that doesn't advance his game that much. Advancing ship is better than Air 3, actually. I think. Or even advancing digs is better than Air 3. So I'm just going to assume that he's going to not make the worst move for himself, and I'm going to advance my ship. Oh, this stronghold is good. I like that a lot. I guess, I mean, it totally makes sense, but I guess I didn't know that it was coming.
Um,
So Zach needs another TP now, I guess. Yeah, the TP is worth 3 points. And then he's done. Then he puts a priest off. So it's going to go TP, priest. Anyway, yeah, so S check, I think that we had some like slightly suboptimal plays this game, especially like this was obviously better than the spade. Like it was just one or two more coins, or like one coin more maybe. It was probably just better, but it did wind up going down this way. I think that we didn't. Fortunately for us, we didn't quite need everything to be quite as precise. But oh, that's a nice way to make 2 points. That was silly. I should have seen that. So we're going to get at 161 plus 12 is 173-ish, I think. Bridge is also 3 points, cost 1 resource less. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that they're all relatively similar lines. I think that Zach is a pretty clear second anyway, so it's not that big a deal. He's going to pass for 12 here. That'll put him at. Yeah, pass for 12. You're at 116. And then win network 134. 142, 146, 150, 151. Okay, maybe they are behind cultists by like a point or two. Yeah. So if I'm looking at one place where engineers could have done a lot better to at least get second, it's right here. Zach, you think? Hey, congrats! I just saw that you're in the chat. Welcome to the stream. You think that Terra Mystica is much harder than Agricola? I don't think that that's true. I think that Terra Mystica is actually a lot. Now, maybe playing Terra Mystica like when you're new is harder than playing Agricola when you're new. However, I think that Terra Mystica is a lot more transparent. I think that's a lot easier to improve at Terra Mystica than it is to improve at Agricola. So that's what I will say about that. Okay, and it does look like you have second here, so I think that you played a really good game. I think you played a really good game. You wound up getting a little bit distracted later. You think there's more stuff to keep track of? I think that for me, it's just so much effort in Agricola to learn all the cards that that's like the biggest like hurdle for me. I think that I was getting pretty decent when it was just like the original like revised set, and then I played like a couple of games with like the CD expansion cards, but now there's just way too much to keep track of, and I can't like process the right combos. But yeah, D Castles is pointing out indeed that he did get kind of screwed by this move here. um, um, but yeah, so basically, I guess so. My thought on Terra Mystica versus Agricola is that Terra Mystica is a lot more transparent, so you can like you can look at a game and you can learn like a lot more from it than you can from an Agricola game. I feel like each Agricola game is so like different because of the cards and because of the way that the rounds flip that it was a little different. Did I expect C1 from Wolf? No, I did not expect C1. I mean, I don't think Alchemists played a good game. I think they played kind of like I mean I don't want to hate on them too much because like they don't have that good of a rating, but I think they made a lot of moves that were pretty bad. Um, like making the worst move that they made arguably was not starting C1. It was building a TP in round one. You don't need that TP, right? Like you just don't. So I think that was probably their biggest mistake. Um, so we bought a priest. I believe this is in the final round just to protect our cults. Um, we took one coins action at a pretty critical time. We took 2 spade actions, which is a little less than you sometimes expect from swarmlings, but we did manage to advance our digs. We did manage to get some cult spades. And the bonus spade was in the game, so that lowered the pressure on this, which was good because, man, look at how much people valued this. And it's pretty clear where we made most of our points this game. We made them on water 1, air 1, and we made them on making towns. We did pass pretty well, but like it was a high passing game. So the benefit to us was that a lot of players didn't make both their big buildings early, so they didn't get as many points off that big building tile. We got 12 points off of there. We didn't hit scoring track that well, but this is pretty good for swarmlings, I would say. Engineers and cultists obviously also did better on that. Alchemists had kind of a side. You think in Agricola it's less difficult decisions to take the best move. In Terra Mystica, there's so much things. See what actions other people. I'd say that that's probably fair. Like Agricola, your options are few at any given turn. However, for me, I'd say that in Terra Mystica, like, sequencing is a little more tricky, but it's also more forgiving because like, I'm like, oh, do I want to build this round or like next round? You don't like it's not clear whether you should build it this round or next round, but you're probably going to get to do it anyway, unless someone does something really unexpected and digs it, like some leech or something. Maybe you lose out on like a priest spot or something, but like you're going to get it done anyway. In Agricola, it's like, okay, do I plow or do I fence? And do I just lose the other one otherwise, or do I wheel it? So 40 starting with the big building and the TP pass time game. So Bruce, that's a good point. That I would counter that. So first of all, alchemists were not supposed to be bid. This player just bid 40 on alchemists right away. So that's part of the reason why. The other reason is that you can see what cultists did here. Cultists did not play a very good game. They played 11 structures and got 12 victory points on that. So, and cultists dominated the cults. So I would say that cultists are supposed to do a lot better than they did just based like if I'm looking at the fact that they only needed 11 structures to get this cult position, and I would think that cultists had a good shot at winning. Engineers, I also did as well. Auction and selection of factions, you still have no idea what you're doing. So I know that this isn't like a super popular take. I think that like among a lot of like more, I would say like modern BGA players, I think that playing Stellman is still like very valuable. And MLP Nix plays on Stellman. I play on Stellman, and I think that like if you read all the old strategy articles, it is still like very valuable to just learn. Like I mean, and also like here's the fact is we're playing on like the base map, right? Like the base map, there's just more like known. There's just like a lot more known quantities about base map because you can learn so much from Stellman. From there, like if you're playing on a different map than base, then you can just get some more information by like contextual stuff. But I think the experience they get from playing on base and like learning like Snellman and like the meta like kind of deeply, that really informs your decision on how to value options and stuff. Um, like I would say that like a very easy way to say like, oh, how good is this faction here? I would say the most important thing is look at the color wheel, right? Why did I bet on engineers? Because engineers are going to win network. Um,
Engineers don't have their hexes threatened. Like, you got one red hex taken away from you. I took one gray away from you, but you still easily won network. You were able to build both your big buildings. You were make 2 towns. You can make 2 towns in the town round. I think that those are all reasons that engineers were kind of clearly like the faction a bit on here. Um, Now, swarmlings is kind of like a tricky faction if you've never seen them played, but then they become kind of simple once you see them played like a few times. They're just going to do the same thing every game a lot of the time. They're going to make an early town. They're going to make like 2 or 3 towns depending on um, whether the landscape is in the game, and they're going to try to pass on to these tiles that give them victory points. So like swarmlings are kind of a known quantity, but then you have to evaluate them based on like what are you competing against, right? Engineers, no one's competing for your hexes, no one's competing for your network, so that just puts you in a very strong position to begin with. So basically, you just need to protect like the things that are yours and figure out how to score really well. If I had to pick a mistake that you made this game, I would probably say that the 2-key town wasn't worth it. It was very good for me that you took the 2-key town, I think, because it meant cultists had to waste time to close these cults themselves. But the fact is, you only won one cult because of it. Um, yeah, you understand swarmlings. You think with engineers you understand just always leave 2 dwellings. I think that that's overrated a little bit. I think it's entirely fine to build a dwelling that doesn't produce resources. The only question is like, because that dwelling, like, it might lock up key territory, it might get leech. Um, like, it's often good to do that anyway. Um, yeah, so Zach, the 2-key town is the best town. There's no question about that, especially in round. If you can get it in round 3, like 2, 3, it's by far the best town. In round 4, it's often the best. I think Engineers is one of the worst factions to take the 2-key town with, unless you're specifically playing really culty. And you didn't play that culty. I mean, it got you 1 spade, right? Like, you were going to get a spade anyway. It got you an extra spade. It got you 4 points. But you had to commit a priest to win those 4 points. Um, I would say that, yeah, it didn't get you like this fire reward wasn't good at all. So all it got you was a spade. The best part about the 2-key town is was the worker town better? I think the 8-point town is better and a worker town is better. I would say that a lot of towns are better than the 2-key town for you there. But I mean, honestly, in the end, like this is 4 points that you got from the 2-key town. This is probably 4 points that I got from the 2-key town, and then this is another 4 points, or 2 points. So in the end, the 2-key town worked out for you, right? Like, you got a lot of points that you probably shouldn't have gotten. I would expect, like, I normally wouldn't expect to get 4 points on air just from taking 1 2-key town. So in this case, it wound up being okay, but I think that in the moment, it wasn't a very great decision. That's this game. It's, you're kind of seeing the power of just like, it's like we played a lot of Swarmlings. We know how Swarmlings goes. It wasn't necessarily like the strongest table, but I think it's still nice to just get a nice win. Zach, we'll chat during the turn-based game that we have. See how that goes. See if you can like learn a little bit more from there. In the meantime, thanks everyone for chatting. Thanks everyone for playing. We will. Thanks everyone for watching, of course. So we'll see y'all next time.